For what I've had planned then, we're going to start on our backs, please. I would like you to have your blocks nearby so that they're within arm's reach. And feel free to use your blanket as a bit of a pillow for your head. So that you can lay down with your head slightly elevated. Have your knees bent and your feet on the ground, please. And if it feels comfortable to have your knees rest against each other, then go for it. Allow your breath to start to soften. And try to allow your breath to reach all the way down to your pelvis. And if you've been to my classes recently, you'll have heard me harp on and on about allowing our breath to go all the way down to our pelvis and out to the sides and into our back and even up into our collarbones. And I'm going to continue harping on about that. Today is no different. So try to allow your breath to reach not just into your front ribs and your belly, but also down, and see if you can feel the movement in your pelvis as your breath reaches down there. Try to feel that widening of your sitting bones and maybe even that gentle sort of movement of the sacrum and the sacroiliac joints. And you might not feel much, it might feel a lot. And for anybody who still has hormonal changes on a monthly cycle, whether you bleed or not, you'll notice it more at certain times because the amount of elasticity that we carry in our joints. Take your hands to your low belly and try to feel that low belly gently lift at the very end of each inhale and lower down at the beginning of each exhale. Now I'd like you to take your hands and grab your blocks and place the blocks into your hands and hold the blocks up to the ceiling as if you're trying to like be a pillar holding the ceiling up. This is a good reason why we don't use the cork blocks. So nobody ends up with a black eye. Hold your blocks up to the ceiling and try not to grip them. Try to hold them like a tray. On your next exhale, take your feet off the ground and have your shins parallel to the floor and flex at your ankles so that your ankles and knees and even your hip joint make 90-degree angles. Now try to allow your breath to expand down to your pelvis again, to widen your collarbones. And think about your exhales, allowing your ribs to draw down toward your spine so you feel that support system kick in, that strength and stability of your deeper core muscles start to work. Now we're going to move really slowly, so we're trying not to drop the blocks. Keep your knees bent at that 90 degree. And on your next inhale, reach your left heel to the ground and your right arm overhead. And exhale to bring them back up. Feel free to breathe out through your nose or through pursed lips. And then swap to your left arm and right leg as you inhale. And exhale back up. And keep swapping left and right, moving slowly so as not to drop your block or flare your ribs. And then next time, your left arm and right leg come back up. Allow yourself to place your blocks down and hug your knees into your chest. Now I'd like you to take one of your blocks, skinniest distance between your thighs, and the other block, medium distance, so like a portrait mode between your ankles. Double blocking it. Now take your hands out to a T and have your palms face down, please. And try to keep your ribs grounded. They're going to come up a little bit, but we're going to twist our knees left and right. So take a big breath in and exhale to lower your knees over to the left. Keep them over to the left as you inhale. Feel your right ribs expand on that inhale. And then exhale, bring your knees back up. Keep your knees still as you inhale. And then exhale over to your right. Hold it there as you inhale. Exhale back up to center. Hold it as you inhale. Exhale to the left. Really breathe into those right ribs as you inhale. Exhale back to center. Hold it at center as you inhale. Exhale over to the right. Breathe into your left ribs as you inhale. And back up to center. Place your feet back down. Keep your blocks as they are. Take a little lift of your hips. And exhale your hips back down. Lift a little bit more. Take a big breath in. Keep squeezing your blocks. And exhale to lower back down. And one more inhale to lift. And exhale to lower back down. Now take the block out that's between your thighs. Keep the block between your ankles where it is. Roll over onto your left side, and you can just sort of pop your head up and look first if you're confused. We're going to straighten the legs out and have your ankles slightly forward from where your hips are. So it's not as if you're against a wall. And then your other block is going to go under your right hand. This is going to be so much fun. You guys are going to love this. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is take a big breath in and exhale to squeeze the block between your ankles and lift your ankles up. Push down with the hand on your right block. Hold it as you inhale and exhale to lower back down. Hold down as you inhale. Exhale to lift. Hold it up as you inhale. Exhale to lower. Now try to think about your inhale going down to your low belly. And then from your low belly, exhale and lift your ankles up off the ground. And on your next exhale, lower back down. Try that one more time. So inhale to your low belly. From your pelvis, exhale and lift your legs up. Push down with your hand on the block. And then lower your legs back down. Roll back onto your back. Keep your legs over to the left as you roll onto your back until your body is shaped a bit like a banana. So keep your ankles to the left and let your arms go overhead. And that sort of side crunching, oblique side body work that you were just doing is going to hopefully relax a little bit. Now bring your legs back to center. Shuffle yourself around and roll over onto your right. Don't forget to take the block to your left hand. Have your feet slightly forward of your hips. Is everybody ready? Take a big breath in and exhale to lift the block up. Push down with your left hand into the other block. Hold it up as you inhale. And exhale to lower. And hold down, stay down as you inhale. So we're only moving on the exhale. From your pelvis, exhale and lift your legs up. Stay there as you inhale. Lower down as you exhale. Stay there as you inhale. Exhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And 2 more of those. Last inhale. Not your last ever inhale though. Exhale to lift your legs. And then lower your legs back down. Keep your legs sort of on the right side of your mat. Roll yourself onto your back until you're shaped a bit like a banana with your legs to the right and your arms overhead. Maybe even your arms to the right. Good. Bring your legs apart and back to center. Bring your body back to center. Bend your knees one at a time. Place your feet on the ground and roll over to one side. Bring yourself all the way up to sitting, please. I'm going to ask you to sit and have your legs out in front of you. And you can move your blanket, that thing, off to the side. Take your legs out in front of you. Take your hands back behind you. Bend your knees. Place your feet on the ground. Try to keep your front ribs down as we slowly lower your knees to the right. Now imagine that there's a bit of resistance, like your left leg is trying to like push the ceiling up and it's dragging your right leg behind you, but it's like, I don't want to go. I'm pushing through. And just keep that imaginary resistance all the way. And then same the other way. And keep your knees over to your right. Sit yourself up onto your right hip. Reach your left arm towards the front of the room. Reach your right arm to the sky. And then lean over towards your right. And then inhale to come back up. So it's just a small amount of lean. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale back up. Exhale to your left is what I meant to say before. Inhale back up. And exhale forward. Come back up to your left. Back up. And forward. Stay folded forward. Reach your arms back behind you. Take a big breath in. Feel your breath go into your ribs and your collarbones. And then exhale to come back up. Bring your knees up and over to the other side. Reach your left arm to the sky and right arm to the front of the room. Take a big breath in. And exhale, lean to your right. Inhale back to center. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale up. To the right. Up. And forward. Up. To the right. Up. And forward. Stay forward. Bring your left arm back behind you. Take a big breath into your collarbones, to your back ribs, even into your back pelvis. And then exhale to come all the way back up. Bring your knees back up. Straighten your legs out to the sides. Reach all the way up. Take a big breath in. Fold forward. Let your heels dig into the ground a little bit so your legs are slightly active in this forward fold. And maybe even have a little bit of like a pull of your heels toward your pelvis so that your knees want to bend, but you're not going to let them. Using the strength that we built in our obliques, but also allowing your breath to open up the opposite side that is not being strengthened. We're going to side bend left and right. And it's going to sort of sweep from side to side. So what we're going to do is sweep our hands to the left, press against your inner leg, and then inhale your right arm up. And as you do that, breathe into those right ribs, and then exhale down. And then sweep over to your right. Inhale into those left ribs as you reach your left arm up. And exhale back down. And do that side to side. And as your ribs expand on the open side, and it starts to become a bit of a natural habit to expand those open ribs, then also try to see if you can contract the lower ribs to get into a bit of a deeper side bend. A lot of times in yoga poses, we rely on gravity to sort of keep us in a bit of a deepish looking pose, but we also can use our muscles to almost like antagonize us to get deeper into the pose. Come back down to center. Slowly sit yourself back up. Bend your knees, and we're going to bring ourselves around to hands and knees now, please. And from hands and knees, before you do much else, have your blocks and bring them up to the front of your mat so that they're ready for you in case you need them. From hands and knees, I'd like you to take a big breath into your upper back. So not like cat back, but just the shoulders. And then as you exhale, feel your ribs pull up toward your spine. Take another breath in to widen your sitting bones until it feels almost like you're sticking your butt out a little bit, but it's actually just neutral. And then on your next exhale, allow your shoulders to relax halfway down. Good. So in theory, we're hoping to have a nice neutral curve to the spine. I want you to try that cylindrical breathing here, where you feel your collarbones and pelvis expand slightly as you inhale. And as you exhale, everything sort of draws back to your center, giving you that feeling of slight toning and stability. That's what we're hoping to feel anyway. Reach your right leg back so it's in a plank, but your left knee is still in the hands and knees. I want you to inhale to push back into your right heel and lift your tailbone just a little bit. Widen your collarbones just a little bit. And then as you exhale, push with your toes to bring yourself slightly forward and round your back a little bit more. Inhale to push into your heel. Exhale, come forward. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. Come back to neutral. And then step your right foot outside your right hand. Take your right hand onto your right thigh and reach your left hand up to the sky. Use your right hand to remind your thigh to have a bit of external rotation so your outer hip is sort of getting heavier. Keep your ribs down and your tailbone down. And reach all the way up with your left hand and slightly side bend to the right. And as you do that, instead of just leaning to the right, think of your obliques on the right side strengthening to then allow your left side to have more space to breathe. Come all the way back up. Bring your left hand onto your pelvis. Now take your left shin in to about 45 degrees. I'm going to come and measure. I'm not. Turn your pelvis out roughly 45 degrees. So you don't feel overly twisted in the pelvis. That's what we're going for. It's not a crazy twist. And then I want you to reach your right hand over your right thigh and your left hand up to the sky. Similar to what we did in the 90-90 seat, but now we're on our knees. And then inhale, glide and push weight into your right foot and lean into that right foot. And then exhale to come back up. We're just going to keep going that way. We're not going to fold forward. Inhale. Exhale. I like the jazz hands. Do you intend to do that? Just have it. Come back. And one more. Stay in that lean. Keep your left side long and then try to bring your right hand up to meet your left. Look down and see if you can see your big toe. Come all the way back up. Straighten out your shin and your torso and take your left hand to the ground or to a block. I'm going to use a block. Reach your right hand up to the sky. Try to really breathe into those right ribs now. So after that bit of a side bend, they will have felt slightly contracted. And now I'd like you to breathe into space, breathe space into them. And as you do that, try to let your right hip get heavier. Lower your right hand back down to the ground. Move your block out of the way if you used it. Step your right leg all the way back and around. Tuck it across over to the left and just do a little bit of a side bend. So your body's sort of like a banana once again, but in a plank banana. Planana. Don't shake your head at me. I shake my head at myself anyway. Blank. That's actually a word though, so that makes sense. Bring your right knee back to meet your left knee. Take your right hand back. And try to come back to that neutral spine. And we'll start just by inhaling into your upper back. Feel your shoulder blades protract, so you've got space between them. Roundness of your upper back. As you exhale, feel your ribs draw up away from the ground and toward your spine. Inhale, widen your sitting bones and lengthen your tailbone straight back horizontally-ish. And then as you exhale, allow your shoulder blades to come back toward each other halfway. Step your left leg back, toes tucked, so your left leg is in a plank. Try to keep your spine roughly neutral. And then inhale to push back into your heel. Let your tailbone lift a little bit. Let your collarbones widen a little bit. And then exhale, tuck your tailbone a little bit, round your back. And I say a little bit because I don't want it to be a very dramatic offering of cat-cow, just like a mini subtle cat-cow in a half plank. Inhale back. Exhale forward. And one more. Come back to neutral. Lift up your left foot and step your left foot outside your left hand. Take your left hand onto your thigh. Reach your right arm up to the sky. Use your left hand to remind your hip to be slightly externally rotated so your left hip stays heavy. Side bend slightly to your left by engaging your obliques a little bit. Try to allow your tailbone and ribs to stay slightly heavy so you're not in a back bend. Come all the way back up. Take your right hand onto your hip. I know how to speak. Take your right shin in, roughly 45. Turn your pelvis out, roughly 45. If you look out your side eye, hopefully you'll still see your big toe. Keep an eye on it because it's going to try to hide. And reach your left arm in the same direction as your left knee. Reach your right arm up toward the sky. Inhale to bend into your left knee and push down with your foot. Use your obliques to reach your body also in that direction. And then exhale to come back and push your foot into the ground so your torso moves back to over your right knee. Inhale, glide over to your left. Lean a little bit. Exhale, come back. Inhale. Exhale. And one more. Inhale. And exhale. Turn your shin back to neutral and your body back to the front of your mat. And take your right hand onto a block or the ground. Reach your left hand up to the sky. And try to remind your left hip to get heavy to the ground. So you're opening up and breathing into those left ribs now. Exhale to lower your left hand back down to the ground. Move your block out of the way. And take your left leg all the way around and across to the right. Tuck your toes under and press back so you're in a bit of a banana shape. Even your left hand can go slightly forward. Come all the way back to hands and knees. Both hands back underneath you. Tuck your toes under. Take a breath in. And exhale to lift your knees up just 1 or 2 inches. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, I want you to shift your heels and your hips to the right. So you sort of move onto the edges of your feet. The big toe edge and the pinky edge, left and right, respectively. Come back to center with your knees still lifted. And then exhale your heels and hips to the left. And now that your feet kind of make sense, come back to center. Try to think about your obliques pulling you over that way. Right obliques pull in, so your heels and hips go to the right. Back to center. Left obliques pull in, so your heels and hips go to the left. Come back to center. Place your knees back down onto the ground. Come back into a child's pose. Rest your arms, rest your hands. Take a few moments. All of these songs remind me of high school. Like every single one of these songs. Is this like my high school mixtape? Did you steal it from my mom's basement? Palms down, come back up to hands and knees. Neutral spine once again. So a little bit of protraction of the shoulder blades, but not as much as possible, just a little bit. Think about your sitting bones getting wider, and think about your ribs keeping lifted away from the ground a little bit. Reach your right leg back, toes tucked under. Now take your left shin. This is going to confuse people because it always does. It's inevitable. Take your left shin to the left. Okay, so far so good. Let your right heel go to the left, so you're on the big toe edge of your right foot. Flare your toes of your right foot, like your toes are really spread, and flex at your ankle, so you're not trying to put your pinky toes down. Okay, strong flex ankle. So have the demand lift your pinky toe up, so it's like you're trying to show of your right foot. So you're trying to show the sole of your foot to Hannah behind you. Yeah, just like that. Okay, now, left hand on the ground, reach your right hand up to the sky. Now as you're here, take a few breaths. Open up the right side of your body, breathe all the way down into your pelvis, and exhale to feel everything contract and support you. And as you feel that strength contracting and supporting you, think about what it would take to lift your left shin off the ground. And maybe you can. Maybe you don't want to, though. It's up to you. And sometimes even just thinking about it is hard work on its own. Reach your right hand overhead toward me, toward the front of the room, and create more space in the right side of your body. And then exhale your right hand down to the ground. Pivot your right heel up and your left shin back to neutral. Tuck your left toes under. This is going to be a fun ride. Okay, watch this. We're going to go straight into a down dog split. So your right leg is just going to go up in the air. So just like you normally would, take a breath in and exhale to lift up your left knee. Magic. Right leg in the air. Big breath in. Step your right foot between your thumbs as you exhale. Use your hands, help it through. Take a big breath in and reach your arms up to the sky. Crescent lunge. As you exhale, fold forward halfway, and then allow your ribs to pull in. Come into that cylindrical breathing, so you feel your pelvis inflate, you feel your collarbones widen, lengthen the sides of your waist. Turn your toes to the left. Reach your arms open, warrior two. Allow your tailbone to get slightly heavy. Look down through your side eye. Check that your big toe is still there. Nobody's cut it off. Just in case. You never know. Reach your left hand to the sky. You looked really panicked, trying to figure out which one is it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Inhale to glide forward. Use your obliques, use your hip flexors, lean into your right foot. And exhale, push down with your right foot to come back up. Inhale, bend your right knee, use your hip flexor, feel your obliques work a bit to lean you over to the right. Exhale, come back up. And one more, inhale. And exhale. Reach your right arm up to meet your left. Straighten your right leg. Hinge at your right hip and lean over to the right. And in this triangle version, is your right arm heavy? It's a really heavy arm. Think about trying to pull your left foot toward your right heel. And think about your right leg trying to bend as if your foot is trying to slide to the left foot. Like you're trying to slide your feet together. Does that make sense? Keep your front ribs down. Use your right obliques to get you a little bit deeper. Use your left obliques to breathe space. And then come back up. Lower your arms down. Those heavy, heavy arms. Shake them out. Bend your right knee. Turn to face the front of your mat. And pivot your left heel up. Just keep shaking those arms out. Does anybody want another fun one to add to that? I'm not sure yet. Don't know. Do you want to give it a go? Okay, so we're going to go into another version of a side plank. So similar to what we did earlier, I want you to really think about using the edges of your feet rather than trying to get the sole of your feet to the ground. So the flexing of your ankle and flaring of your toes helps your feet to stay strong so you can use the edges as much as you can. Take your hands to the ground. Step your right foot back halfway. Doot. Pivot all of your toes to the right side of your mat and go onto the edge of your left foot, but your right foot is flat. Other side, Eve. Other way, Eve. There you go. Does that make more sense? Okay. Try to keep your left ankle, the one that's just on the edge, flexed. And when you're ready, let your right hand start to get as light as possible. Maybe even reach your right hand up to the sky. And if you're feeling strong enough, let your hips lower down to the ground and reach your right hand towards your foot. Yeah, you did it. Look at that. And then now the hard part is getting back up. So push down with your ankle, your right foot, hips back up, and then sweep your hands straight back into that half down dog. Right leg up into the air, where we started, down dog split, and then come forward to a plank with your right knee on the ground. How's everybody feeling? Good? Tired? Is it warm? Take your left knee to the ground. Come back into a child's pose. Turn your palms up and give your fingers a little wiggle. Like you're saying, gimme, 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 gimme. Or tickling somebody. Ticky, ticky, ticky. If you don't do it, I'm going to come put my feet in your hands so you do start wiggling. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Mostly because I don't want to be tickled. Okay, bring yourself back up slowly to hands and knees, please. Neutral spine. A little bit of energy pushing the floor away from you. Ribs pulling away from the floor. Widening of the sitting bones. Reach your left leg back, toes tucked under. Take your right shin off to the right, towards the chairs. Bring your left heel down. Go onto the big edge, the big arch side, big toe edge, that's the words I'm trying to use, of your left foot. Flare out the toes. Start to reach your left hand up to the sky. Good. Have a bit of downward energy through the big toe side of your left foot. Allow your right obliques to feel a little bit engaged until your left side has a bit more space. And then think about what it would take to lift your right shin off the ground. And even if you're just pretending to lift it off the ground, it can still be hard work. Reach your right arm overhead toward me, please. Create more space, and maybe you can lift or think about lifting a little bit more. Slowly bring your left hand back down to the ground. Pivot your shin back to neutral. Tuck your right toes under. Take a deep breath in. Lift up your right knee, and as you exhale, down dog split with your left leg in the air. Take your left foot forward between your thumbs. Inhale, reach your arms up, crescent lunge. Fold slightly forward as you exhale. Try to let your left hip stay heavy. Come into that cylindrical breathing. Open up, tops, sides, bottoms as you inhale. You have everything draw back in as you exhale until it almost feels like your muscles are getting closer to your bones. Lift up partway, turn your toes to the right. Open your arms out, warrior two. Keep an eye on that left big toe. Let your front ribs get a little bit more relaxed down and your tailbone get a little bit relaxed down. It's tempting to want to have a back bend. Let's try not to. Reach your right arm up to the sky. As you inhale, glide over your left knee. Push weight into that left knee. And exhale, push down with your left foot to come back. Inhale, glide to the left. Think about your obliques helping you lean a bit more. And exhale, come back. Two more of those. Inhale to the left. Exhale, back up. And one more. Reach your left arm up to the sky to meet your right. Hopefully it's not as heavy. Straighten your left leg. Think about your legs trying to squeeze toward each other. Try to keep a slight internal rotation of your right leg and your ribs slightly down. And then hinge at your left hip. Push your right hip back and use your left obliques to let you lean toward the front of the room into this triangle variation. Inhale to inflate space into the right side of your ribs, and as you exhale, let your obliques on the left side crunch a little bit more. And take two more big breaths like that. Come all the way back up. Let your arms shake down. Wiggle them around and start to bend your left knee. Pivot your right heel up. It's hard to keep wiggling and doing that at the same time. Take your hands down to the ground. Step your left foot back halfway. Turn your toes to the left, to the kitchen wall. Yeah, there we go. Go onto the flat sole of your left foot, but your right foot just be on the pinky edge of it. Flare your right toes, flex at the ankle so you can feel that downward push like a blade going into the ground. And then let your left fingers get a little bit light. Let your right hip get heavy and your left hip get light as you lift your left arm to the sky. Use a lot of downward energy with your left foot. And slowly lower your hips toward the ground. Maybe even sit on your right hip. Reach your left hand toward your foot like, I present to you my foot. And then start to push down with your right hand and left foot. Lift your hands back up. Pivot your hands back down. Toes to the front of your mat. Sweep your left leg to the air, down dog split. And then gently place both knees back down onto the ground. Come back into your child's pose. Palms up. Slowly lift yourself up from your child's pose. Sit back on your heels. Take your legs out in front of you. Have your legs crossed with your right shin in front of your left. I'm just going to go check that that wasn't anything suspicious at the door. It was just David leaving. Okay, right shin in front of your left. Reach your arms out to the sides or up to the sky. Or one of each. Or somewhere in between. Doesn't matter. Inhale to fold forward. Exhale to come back up. Maybe try the other one. Inhale, fold forward. Exhale, come back up. Maybe reach back. Inhale. And exhale. And then twist your body to your right. Use your hands on your knees and behind you. Come back to center. I think it's David, the caretaker. Swap the cross of your legs. Reach your arms out to the sides. Inhale to fold forward. Exhale back up. Maybe reach up this time. Inhale forward. Exhale back up. Maybe reach back behind you. Inhale. And exhale. And then twist to your left. Hands to your knees on the ground behind you. Come back to center. Take your legs out in front of you. Lean back into your hands and give your legs a good shake. Wiggle them around. Reach forward. Give everything a big shake. Look like a bunch of monkeys. And then turn or bring your bum forward enough. Get your blanket for your head or your blocks for your calves. Have everything ready. But we are going to do a little bit of movement before we go into full Shavasana. So don't get too excited yet. But we are going to get there. We're getting lower and lower. We're almost there. Onto your backs. Hug your right knee into your chest. Press your shin into your hands a bit so there's a little bit of that sort of push-pull effort, but only a little bit. And then just bring your shin over to the left as if you're about to go into a twist, but you're not. And then over to the right. And then the left. Still pushing a little bit into your hands through the shin, and then over to the right. And then over to the left. And if your leg is on a block, you can keep it there if you want. Allow your right knee to come all the way into a twist. And if your left leg is on a block, if that feels good to keep it there, go for it. If you want to just take your left leg off the block for now, that's also fine. Reach your right arm overhead so you can create that space down the right side of your body. Slowly come back onto your back. Take your left shin into your hands. Straighten your right leg out. Maybe onto a block or on the ground. Press your right shin into your hands a bit of effort there. And then just pull your leg over to the right, and then a bit over to the left, and then the right, and then the left, and then all the way over to the right, and let yourself roll into a bit of a twist. And your left arm can go overhead as well, and breathe into that left side of your body. Slowly come back onto your back. Hug both knees in. And then let your legs straighten out onto your blocks or onto the ground, whatever feels good for your body for today. This is it. This is the time now. The time to let yourself get comfortable. Take all those little indulgences of, putting socks on or taking your glasses off. Go crazy. Even take your ponytail out. Do something wild and let yourself relax. Let yourself sink down into the ground and start to feel soft and as if you're spreading out into your mat. Now, all that talk of cylindrical breathing, I'd like you to imagine that your whole body is a cylinder now. Breathe into each pore of your skin. And with each exhale, allow yourself to feel like you're melting down into the ground a little bit more until everything can just flop, relax, unclench, and soften. allow your breath to begin to deepen and lengthen. Start to bring your breath to reach down to your fingers and toes. Allowing yourself start to feel that tingling shift of energy. Maybe inviting some movements into your body through little wiggles that maybe graduate to become bends and flexes. And as your breath becomes a bit deeper, maybe you start to reach your limbs a little bit, or flex and stretch them, or maybe just nod your head a little bit side to side. And when you're ready to, let your knees bend one at a time, place your feet on the ground. And let yourself roll gently to one side into the fetal position. Use your hands to help you come up to a comfortable seat when you're ready. As you arrive, take a long, slow breath in through your nose, creating a bit of space in your body. Hold it for a moment at the top of that inhale. Try to keep the length in your spine as you slowly exhale out through your nose. Hold for a pause at the bottom of your exhale. And then bring yourself back to a natural breathing rhythm. Let your hands rest in your lap, over your heart, or palms together. Let your chin soften down and give yourself a moment of full appreciation and gratitude for the effort you put into yourself and for the commitment you're giving yourself to coming back and trying and feeling that ache and that confusion and that struggle, which happen over and over and over again until all of a sudden it doesn't. So thank you for trusting me with your time and your energy once again. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you.